Hello everyone, my name is Justin and welcome back to the New York Islanders GM Mode series, and I'm kind of mad because as you can see, this is where we were last time. We're about to get into the playoffs. I recorded actually 2 episodes. I had an autosave that was between the two, so I only lost one of the episodes really. I went to go edit them and I realized my mic was muted. But what happened was they had a pretty good team. We lost the first 2 games. Then we had a 3-game comeback. Then couldn't get offense in game 6 or 7. We were bumped in the first round. I kind of figured we would be. Now we're up to here. Sorry about that. Now we're up to here. Let's check out what our team did here in the playoffs. You already know. I should have made sure my mic was on. I said I didn't care how far we went in the playoffs, but as you can see, Hodgson, he had a good year in the regular season, but he's just not a second-line center. He's a third-line center. Brock Nelson didn't do nothing. I mean, half our team didn't do anything. It wasn't Halak's fault. He played fine. So once again, I want to apologize that we lost the playoff footage. I promise you, next year when we make the playoffs, we won't miss one of them. Let's look at the playoff tree. Here's what happened here. Went down to San Jose and Nashville versus Pittsburgh and Toronto. Pittsburgh won the cup in year 2. So check out the awards. Pittsburgh, Kucherov, Ben, Ekman Larson, Sagan, Matthews, Fleury, Crawford, Darling and Crawford, Bouye, Tays, Ben, Crosby. Let's see if Del Cole won any awards. Nope. I just feel so bad, and I hope people don't stop watching. I mean, that was a one-time thing where I forgot to see if my mic was on. Well, let's just get up to the draft, I guess. Do the re-sign stage, which I already did one time. I'm hoping the same free agents are available because there were some good options that I want you guys to comment on who for me to sign in free agency when I show you them. As far as retirees go, I don't believe there would be any from New York. But Yager, Thornton, Elias, Tange, Gabrick, Roberto Luongo, I don't see a point in our first round pick. We have enough prospects at every position. But we'll pick someone up. Maybe they'll turn into something for our future. So Sigley and Foot. I mean, I'm trying to think. Once Boychuk's gone, you might need another top 4 defenseman. I think we should go Cal Foot, the American. I upgraded Patrick in Com Lacroix. That's why they went so high. And an upgraded Lindgren, whatever his name is. We'll do a 3rd round pick, and then we'll let the computer draft the rest. Zach Dorval, sure. Let's go to resign stage here. By the way, I am on vacation when you were watching this, pre-recorded. That's why I think maybe I didn't check my mic. I mean, I was just in such a hurry to get these videos recorded, and now there's only going to be 1 episode instead of 2 because I don't have much time. So I decided no point in re-signing Calvin DeHaan. He's been a good defenseman for us, but when you look at it, we have these two. We have Hamonic. Pullock's going to get better, probably be top 4 ready next year. Plus we got Hickey. So that leaves us with 1 spot, and we got Palek, Theodore, and Mayfield fighting for it. So we don't need DeHaan. I mean, I guess we can tender him. Not that I don't think anyone's gonna place an offer, but we can tender him, I guess. Palek will re-sign. Finn will re-sign. Holzer, there's no point. Wotherspoon, I want re-signed. Or signed, actually, not re-signed. And we'll get Graham. He's good enough to play top 6 in the AHL squad. So Chris Stewart, don't really care about you. Clutterbuck, he's going to want good money, but giving him a 1-year deal here, guys. He's a 4th liner and he wants 3rd line money. This is probably going to be the last year we have him. As far as Joshua Hosang, he's not developing as fast or as well as I was hoping. I was hoping he'd be like 76, 77 by now. But he had a solid year. 1 or 2 more years in the AHL, he'll be ready to go. So time for a rookie deal with Ronnie Southam. Last year's 59th overall pick. It's a pretty good player. I do want Matt Martin back. Let's see how realistic this game is. In real life, this guy gets a ton of hits. Oh, it doesn't tell us that in this. Okay, so I'm hoping Dal Cole is going to be 84, 85 next year. Cliche. Made the decision to keep Dal Cole in the minors this year. Have 1 year in the AHL. He played great. I think he's ready to make the jump. Florek. Nope. He 84 overall or 74 overall, and the guy wants a freaking 1-way deal. Paquin Bolden, we drafted him last year. We're just gonna buy out Grabowski. 1.6 for 2 years. We can afford that. I'm just sick of him. He did nothing this whole year. Chip Chura, bye. We can re-sign Holstrom. Never mind. Okay. So defense is all figured out. Now, we have 2 options. We can get a 2nd line center, so then we could have Tavares, Prince, and Dal Cole / Strome, whenever one, on the 1st line. Put a 2nd line center between Lee and then Del Cole or Strome, whichever one's not on the first line. Move Nelson down to the third line with Nelson, Killorn, and Hodgson, and then Clutterbuck, Martin, Kazikis. That's option 1, second line center. But that still leaves our first line not very strong, and that's probably going to make John Tavares get under 80 points again. Our second option is, if there's a first liner available, the first time I recorded this, Panarin was. He might not be this time, but Tyler Johnson potentially. We can get a first liner to play with Tavares. A legitimate first liner. This would help us for the playoffs next year. Because, I mean, Del Cole will be first liner. So, like, Panarin would have been perfect. We would have had 2 snipers and a playmaker for our future first line. It's just, I don't see anyone else on this team becoming well, Barzal might become a first line. He probably will, but he's a center, and that's a ways away. So, for the short term, I think Panarin could have been an okay deal. But my point is, we can get a second line center or a first liner, and then do Tavares, the new first liner, Strome / Del Cole / Prince, and then we can move someone to center. I know on the second line, I know Lee can play center, Strome can play center, and do that and move everyone down one. So those are our 2 options. First liner or second line center. Comment down below. Please comment. I want some feedback. I don't want to make all these decisions on my own. Comment first liner, or comment second line center, or comment no one. If you think we should just leave the team like this, let people progress, but I do want to make the playoffs next year, which is why I really don't want to do that. I think we have to sign someone. We have 42 contracts, just over $20 million. Which leads me to another point. See, Panarin's available. So should we sign Panarin is my question. We're going to look at both options here. Chicago, look at all the people that get rid of. The problem is Panarin would be restricted. We'd have to pay a first, second, and third round pick at least. We can get, Datsuk's not restricted. We can get Datsuk as a loaner first liner for like a 1-year thing. So he's got 4.5 white. We could sign him on a 1-year, like $11 million contract. We can afford it. Put him next to Strome and someone. That's option 1. 2 is we can sign Panarin to a long-term contract. It's going to be expensive, but he's a legitimate first liner. Marchand, but he's not very good. Johnson, but he's more of a second liner. So for our first line options, we can get Datsuk and Panarin. If we want to get a second line center, we can get Johnson, Ribeiro, Teravainen, Shaw, and Bonino all can play centers. So it's which one do we want to do? First liner or second line center? And I'm kind of upset, because the first time I recorded this, Brent Burns and Brent Burns and Victor Hedman were both available, and I was really considering getting a legitimate top line defenseman in free agency too, because we don't have that. None of our defensive prospects are going to turn into that, and that could have helped us in the long run. So here are some of the prospects. I mean, I really wanted a top line defenseman, but I think our D played pretty decent this year. Yeah, 213, that's perfectly fine if we can do that next year. So just give me your opinions down below. Once again, I apologize for you not being able to see the first round of the playoffs. Won't happen again. And I'll see you guys next time. Comment Datsuk, Panarin, or anyone else. I'll see you next time.